said, no, I gotta beat Tommy today. I gotta beat him today.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, good morning. I'm Mayor George Flagg, Mayor of the City of Vicksburg, and I'm here today to issue another proclamation regarding the reopening of the Vicksburg while minimizing the risk of an infection and to present the spread of COVID-19 effective today, Friday, March 12th, 2021 at noon throughout noon, Thursday, April 1st, 2021. It seemed like it was just yesterday that we started to address the COVID-19. It came in and we were able to utilize this means to minimize the risk and the spread of this disease and some of the death. We made some tough decisions, but first let me just start by saying to the clergy, the religious community for coming to the auditorium and praying for this city, praying for me, and praying for what we were going through. Secondly, let me thank Dr. Dobbs, the governor of the state, and all those persons that I work with on the state level to be able to get to this point. I want to thank Dr. Hollins and the Board of Supervisors, each of them for what they have done. I think we collaborated as best we could and we worked. We're trying to make certain that what we was enacting was working together. John Effort, the sheriff, the Vicksburg Police Department, the fire department, the Cook volunteers. I think everybody, all the law enforcement and first responders, and certainly those that on the ambulance that had to go into the middle of this by transporting people, or those that worked for the city that had the virus and still was able to come back to work and those things. There are so many people we can thank this morning, but we really want to thank those persons that helped us to get to this point. I never felt better about Vicksburg than I feel today. I never felt better about the decision we made until this day. I never felt better about being ready to make the decision that we're making today. And I know that most of you, and let me just share with you, that looks upon the governor and what he has done in terms of his emergency order, but I've said from day one, the governor was the governor, the governor was the governor of 82 counties. I'm just responsible for 25,000 people in the city of Vicksburg. I ran for mayor of Vicksburg. I want to be mayor of Vicksburg, and I don't want to be governor, so I make the decision based upon the community. Thank all the people that had the input from the regular citizen that called me and told me that they wanted to implement a mandate on the mask when I really wasn't for it. But when I met with the President Task Force person at the governor's mansion, and then listened to our local experts, Dr. Edney, Dr. Totori, and Dr. Eastman, I just thought it was best for us to go forward with those. Now, thanks that we were able to say to this day, I think we were 94% effective. We want to thank talented modern compliance officer that came forth and worked with the community, educated the community. And I don't think we did anything unreasonable. We educated the people on why it was important for us to implement these things. And yes, we did have questions. Whether or not I had the authority, or this board has the authority to do what we've done. I had a question yesterday about it. The law gives the mayor and the supervisor authority to make decisions up to 5 days, and after 5 days, they have to have it ratified. Thanks to Monsoon and Mayfield, that everything that I put on the table, they were able to ratify, never questioned. Mr. Monsoon, Mr. Mayfield never questioned any decision I made, and I want to thank them publicly because a lot of boards don't work like this board works. And this board has been more than gracious to me and understanding to me in the decision I make. And then I want to thank the employees because we can say today, as proud as we want to, that out of 417 employees, we had a total of 53 positive cases in our workforce. So all the decisions we made and all the decisions the employees made, you're to be commended for what you've done. You not only save yourself, but you save your family. We now have 0 active cases, and there have been 0 employees who has been tested due to some level of exposure or currently awaiting results. As of today, right now, I'm told that we have reached 31 days with a 0 exposure or a positive case. Now, when you extrapolate 417 employees versus the number of the dependents and the number of people that have found, there's no telling how many thousand people they affect. So they have done a great job. But what it tells me locally, then, when we look at the numbers from the last couple of days, even today, we had 11 cases. That brings it to a total, unfortunately, to 4,179 total cases and 115 deaths. That we pray God that it wasn't worse than those numbers. We pray God that we can continue to do what we need to do. We thank Dr. Dobbs again and the governor of the state and Dr. Hollins and John Efford and Dr. Edney and all those first people that came and put the vaccine into place. And Lord, yes, we want to thank those volunteers that did a phenomenal job with making certain that one day was high as 800 and some shots. We want to thank Heinz Comprehensive Vicksburg Clinic for what they've done in Vicksburg, where there's questions all over this country about the disparity between African Americans and others in taking this virus. We closed the gap because the vaccine was available and we used the system. Thanks to Deborah Goodman and Jackie and Sam in my office, they took all the calls. I gave my cell phone numbers out and was able to get those folks into vaccination, where they can be vaccinated, and it is doing good. We still have a number coming. I'm told that the single dose is coming. When that dose comes, we're going to be prepared to go forward. We saw an average of 3.93 new cases per day for the past 14 days and 5.4 new cases per day for the past 7. So that allows me to make this announcement today. As we lift some of the restrictions, as we try to go back to normal as we possibly can. There are 1 or 2 reasons why we just didn't come back to all normals. Because 1, next week is school break. We're going to have a lot of students and parents traveling back and forth as it relates to the school break, and we need to wait and see what those numbers look like. The numbers are coming down like we thought they would be coming down as a result of what we've done, as it relates to this civil emergency order and the people taking the vaccine. But we still need to wait. A lot of folks are going to Florida. All the folks are going to be reenacted. And then around March 20-something, we have one of the riverboats coming back. We need to see how that is going to affect our numbers before we totally lift anything. But in this order, let me make it clear to you, we will not lift the mandating of wearing a mask and practicing social distance. Unlike the governor, we are not lifting the mandatory requirement for wearing a mask and practicing social distance in this order. But we will lift some other restrictions that will open up our government. For instance, currently, masks continue to be mandated, and I'll give you a summary of it, inside public business, buildings, if social distance 6 feet cannot be practiced. Masks are required for employees, for retail business, grocery store, salon, barber shop, other personal care facility, tattoo parlor, and pet room. That means those employees must still wear those masks. A business must continue to sanitize high contact areas, break rooms, door handles, and carts. Restaurants and bars that sell or serve alcohol must end their sale and consumption at midnight. It was 11 o'clock, we're moving to 1 hour, and you must close by 1 o'clock. That goes that the bars and restaurants that sell alcohol or nightclubs can stay open till 12. Selling alcohol, you can stay open 1, but you can stop. It used to be 10, and 11. We wanted to go to 2 o'clock, but we said not so fast. Juvenile curfew will still be in effect from 7:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And that is because we still see signs of crimes in our city relating to juvenile. Not just because of COVID and the exposure, but we see a level of crime committed by juvenile. I had every intention to listen there, but we're still seeing crime committed by juveniles in the streets of Vicksburg that I am compelled to keep this on until we get zero tolerance in crime in this city. It is absolutely necessary that our community to be safe, and we'll do that. Now, talking about crime, I'm very much aware of the gunshots that are being fired in our city. I'm very much aware of the activity in the Letitia location last week. I'm very much aware of the activity that happened last week. I pray to God that we can get to there's no crime in the city of Vicksburg. But unfortunately, we still have people that just refuse to obey the law. We apprehend them, we put them in jail, and we put them before the court that I have no control of it. That means a municipal judge or a county judge or a circuit judge. And for whatever reason, some of these people are continuing to post bond easily and get back out. It's unfortunate that some of the crimes that are committed are associated or with other crimes. It is unfortunate that we have, but I thank God that it was not like some other city. But I'm determined as mayor, I'm determined with every fiber in my body and every ounce of wisdom from God to get to a zero tolerance. I have a plan going forward that I'm not going to talk about in detail because I don't think it's the time. That's going to get to there. Yes, we're going to make some changes in the Vicksburg Police Department. Not changes just in leadership, changes in functional responsibility going forward. I now know, and I've learned where it is we need. I place no blame on nobody. I think we got one of the best police departments. We got some of the best leadership, but every now and then, the team has to reorganize. Teams every day release good players to get better players. I'm reminded of what was said about when Durant left the Golden Warriors, when Stephen Curry had the concerns. He walked up to the coach and said, well, you know, we just won a championship and Durant is leaving. The coach looked at Steph and told him, said, look, anytime a person leaves you, that's your opportunity to get somebody better in that position. And that's what we intend to do as people retire, as people even stay. We're going to move some things around. I won't go into detail because I know it's a political season. And that's not necessary. That's not our purpose here today. Our purpose here today is that I feel good about Vicksburg. I believe we're safe than a lot of other cities. We're reducing crimes, and Pam can tell you when we look at the stats and compare the stats based on last year and this year, we're better off this year. Thank God, I'm knock on wood, there hadn't been a homicide in this year. In other areas, we're working. The police are working tirelessly. We're going to implement some of this tonight that you'll see different. I won't go into detail. Chief Boyle will go into detail. For from night to night, you'll see the police officers doing something different. I think it'll work. I think it'll create more vision in the neighborhood, and it'll get us to a better community police. So people can begin to face stuff. It's not fair for Johnny to walk his dog on Drummond Street and dodge bullet at the same time. It's not right. For somebody in Shannon Hill, or somebody on Meadowvale, or somebody on Letitia, or somebody in the bottom to not be able to walk their dog and walk safe. Every inch of ground in this city is just as important as every resident and everybody's zip code. And everybody. And we're going to do this, and we're going to do it effectively. Now, I'm putting back into place something that we had that I thought worked, but I relieved it because some of the deputies were telling me they need some relief. Well, your relief is gone. We finna put this back to work because it worked. And if it's effective, it needs to work. We pay enough for our employees to work for the Vicksburg Police Department first, and then the other jobs second. Your primary responsibility is to protect and serve. And that's what we're gonna do. So we're bringing back the Special Law Enforcement Task Force for the Vicksburg Police Department. Patrolling will increase with the Deputy Police Chief directing supervising shift from Thursday through Sunday, from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. With the increased number of officers per shift for April 1st. I'm bringing it back. It's a crime prevention, and we need it back. And it's coming back. Now, you no longer, these things are no longer in effect. All reduction in capacity restrictions are no longer in effect. Meaning we don't have no restriction on the number of people can go in your business or your establishment. Previous restrictions on restaurants and bars regarding serving on the seats, patron limitation of 10 in a table are no longer in effect. Previous restrictions on outdoor sports complexes and multiple field facilities are no longer in effect. We're about to bring Fuzzy Johnson with the Zesty Park and everything back to use. In fact, we got a person we getting ready to interview some people for that job at Fuzzy Johnson. Those folks that get ready. It's coming back. Previous restrictions on reception halls and conference centers are no longer in effect. You can bring back your wedding. You can bring back your reception. You can bring back your repast now. Those things that we've done traditionally are coming back. Previous restrictions of group, gathering, religious service, and funerals are no longer in effect. If you can wear a mask or practice social distance, that's different. You can be within 6 feet of each other, but the two of you have to wear a mask. That's all. You can sit in a pew next to somebody. It's just if it's less than 6 feet, just wear a mask. You can return back to your churches. And I believe that returning back to the churches will give us another level of security than ever before. And lastly, previous requirements to screen, custom, and temperature check are no longer in effect. These things, because we've done what we had to do when we had to do it. I'm so proud of Vicksburg. I'm so proud to be your mayor. I'm so proud that we made the decision through the grace of God. We made those decisions, and I think we're ready to get our city back as normal as possible. But let me reiterate, there's still a mask mandate in Vicksburg if you can't practice social distance unless you're eating in those things that are required. Okay? You're exempt from wearing a mask if in fact you have an illness or you can't wear a mask. This is close as going back to normal as we possibly get. And I hope that we can continue to be safe, and this will go to April 1st, and I've talked to Dr. Hollins, and they go to April 5th. And if we see by April 1st, after spring break and some other things, we can lift some of the requirements, search that requirement, that mandated mask, we'll look at that. But not until we see the numbers reflected in our community that is safe to return to full normalcy. And yes, I believe that there are going to be people that wear their mask regardless, because some folks just take self-responsibility for their health and welfare. There's nothing wrong with that. But government should not continue to impose and enforce things that are uncomfortable to the mass of other people when we know that it's safe now. The vaccine is here, it's available. Got a call yesterday, said they had 75 left, can I call somebody? The single dose is coming. And so in Vicksburg, I think we're ready to go back to normalcy. Now, I'll take the question. No question?
Mayor,
Okay.
the stimulus from the White House was signed yesterday. Do you anticipate Vicksburg seeing any financial benefit from that?
Oh, absolutely. When you give them $1,400 per family, people tend to invest, spend that money. I look for, and I hate to say it, but I just, and it is good. I can see casino revenues going up. I can see retail's revenue going up. Yes, it's going to benefit. That's the whole idea of this stimulus. It's to stimulate the economy. And let me just tell you something. We've done great. We had laid off, furlough, cut nothing. And we're balanced to budget. And got a credit rating for the last 7 years. Well, that we are financial and fiscal sound, and that we manage our money. And what people don't take into consideration, the amount of money you take in and your debt ratio. And haven't raised nobody tax. Okay? Next question. That it? Well, let's go forward. Thank you. And thank y'all for coming.